Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the Camper Report. My screen is frozen right now, and the place that I am streaming is terrible, terrible reception. I think maybe it'll be better if I quickly just go off screen. Yeah, because this is terrible. But yeah, you know, already not a great start to the night. I tried to go stream in the school's library. Instead of closing at 11, they were closing at 9. So we're here. Let me try to at least would you even be able to see my face? This is not a great start to the stream. Definitely need to get better reception. Man. What is going on here? Yo. Yo, yo, yo. Yo. Yo, yo, yo. All right. Is this working? Good. Anyway, terrible reception. But I think it's working. So if you guys can't, for whatever reason, hear me, but yeah, it's a good night. What I was saying before, was trying to stream in the library. That obviously got closed. So now we're in this terrible spot with reception. But let's hope that next time it can be a little bit better of a start. We are not off to a great start, 3.5 minutes through this show. But guys, we've got an exciting show for you guys. We're basically going to be breaking down what my offseason plan should be, the Kyle Shanahan dilemma, because I think this is going to be a very critical offseason for the Niners. Really quick, franchise official, Big Play Slay, I remember you. We should do a show together. I actually was maybe a week ago thinking of, because I still, East Coast Gridiron popped into my chat. If you're still there, East Coast Gridiron popped into my chat like a couple weeks ago and was saying, I think he just put a comment in there, and then I started thinking of Big Play Slay. But yeah, I'll definitely we should do a show again sometime. So it's good to see that you came across the stream. But yeah, we got Kyle Shanahan talk, the offseason plans. We're going to talk some free agents, and then we're going to talk a couple of prospects that I've been getting into. I really wanted to delve deep on some of a little bit deeper on some of the prospects today in the NFL draft, because I think this is a really big offseason for the 49ers, but didn't necessarily have a lot of time today. But yeah, I guess without further ado, and also want to get a new intro going, want to get a new background going. But let's weather the storm here, at least for this stream. And let's talk Kyle Shanahan. I mean, we could quickly start with the Eagle or the Seahawks versus Rams game, or I guess Seahawks versus Patriots game. I really actually kind of want to cover that as it gets closer. I think Patriots don't have a chance. I think the Seahawks, it's funny because I always kind of viewed Sam Darnold as more of a Jimmy Garoppolo type quarterback who had a better arm but was going to make the same mistakes as Jimmy Garoppolo. And it's funny because the 49ers weren't able to get it done in 2019 with Jimmy Garoppolo, but the Seahawks are going to be able to get it done with Sam Darnold. I think that's already a Seahawks. It's going to be close, but I think that's already a Seahawks win. But yeah, the Kyle Shanahan dilemma. So let's get to a little bit. This is kind of now or never for Kyle Shanahan. Shout out Grant Cohn. Watch a lot of him. He's a very pessimistic 49ers content creator who, I mean, he covered, I guess, praise the team a whole lot, but he did bring up a good point. This old 49ers team reminds him and me, I mean, honestly, I kind of agree with it. This old 49ers team reminds me a lot of the Russell Wilson Seattle teams after their Super Bowl runs. Remember, when they won the Super Bowl under Russell Wilson, he was under a rookie contract. They hadn't signed him yet to a long-term deal that put him and set him as one of the highest paid quarterbacks in the league. I'm breaking up again. We're going to try to keep going. And so, but once they did that, they had to get rid of a lot of their core pieces, especially on the defense. And so that included Richard Sherman, Cam Chancellor. The other guy's name in that secondary is escaping me right now. But once they signed Russell Wilson to that long-term deal, they had to get rid of a lot of their elite pieces. On top of the fact that from years 2016 to 2019, I'm going to keep talking here and just turn off my camera. From years 2016 to 2019, they didn't draft well. They did not hit on their drafts. And if you are paying a quarterback top of the market money, you're not going to be able to retain a lot of your veterans, a lot of your pieces that want the big money. And so what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to hit on a lot of your drafts. Now, I could bring up the history. I mean, we could even go through this together tonight on stream, the history of the Niners picks, but off of recent memory, what drafts have we really hit on? I mean, if you're talking about last draft, right? You had let's share the screen and look up the 49ers off the top of my head. So let's go through it. First round last year, you drafted Mykel Williams. He was okay, but he got injured. Not a great pass rusher. I'm going to go through that later. I think the Niners need to draft another defensive end. I think this draft is loaded with defensive ends, and I think we're going to probably end up getting one in the first round. But we'll go into that later. But let's continue with last year's draft. So you drafted Mykel Williams. He's all right. You drafted Alfred Collins. He's all right. He could develop into something better, a little bit raw, but not much of a game changer. All right, that's the second round. Third round, you went and that's where, obviously we're thinking of the linebacker. I'm thinking of the linebacker. I believe he was a fourth round pick. Let me look up the exact order of, oh my gosh, why is my computer being like this? I need to get in better reception. This is terrible. I might even need to switch to my phone. Yeah, let me just look it up on my phone because currently the stream is not doing well. But, okay, so Nick Martin, let's look up 49ers 2025 draft class. He said, I've just been on college break, so I really haven't posted on YouTube in so long. Do you think Purdy is actually the answer? Yeah, I've been in college too. I'm currently right there right now. Had to come back for, I mean, our break, I believe we get off April 28th would be our so we get off a little bit earlier, but we come back from break a little bit earlier or as well. So I came back to school January 10th, and a lot of colleges come back January like 20th through the 25th, whatever. So that's good to hear, though. I'm trying to keep it consistent through college, honestly. But do you think Purdy is actually the answer? So, yeah, I've kind of been answering that already. But let's continue to 49ers draft class 2025. Definitely going to get better reception because this is actually awful for next show. Well, so, I mean, I guess we can, off the top of my head. So you had Nick Martin, right? You had Jordan James, the running back. You had, okay, so Michael Williams, first round. Okay. Alfred Collins, second round. Okay. Nick Martin, third round. So that was our third round pick. I wasn't sure which one came next, but Nick Martin was our third round pick. He was a healthy scratch all year. And at the end, they said he had a concussion. But even when he was playing, a lot of missed assignments. It never really seemed like Robert Saleh and the 49ers and just in general, their coaching staff really trusted Nick Martin. So that's already a miss in the draft, right? Maybe he'll be good. Upton Stout, arguably our best pick from last year. He was good. CJ West was pretty good. Nothing special. Jordan Watkins. That's another thing. It's like we want to bring in a top-tier wide receiver, but Jordan Watkins is probably going to be a player that the Niners are never going to give a chance, but is going to go to another team and be really good, I think, from Ole Miss, wide receiver from Ole Miss. Jordan James, another miss, running back from Oregon. He got injured, and depending on what happens with Christian McCaffrey, whatever, he might get a chance, but so far that's another miss. Marquise Siegel was okay, got some opportunities, was good, not great. That was round 5, the safety out of Kansas State. And then obviously Curtis Rourke, QB from Indiana. So a lot of misses in that draft. But on top of the fact, like we all remember the Mooney draft where we drafted our safety out of Penn State. We drafted, his name is escaping me, but the Niners have had a lot of drafts, especially in recent years, where they just haven't gotten it done. And so basically our aging core, Christian McCaffrey, George Kittle, Brandon Ayuk lost his mind. Deebo Samuel's no longer on the team. Trent Williams is about to retire. Our aging group of guys are getting older and older. And because we haven't been able to replace those guys with depth through drafting, because we've had so many misses, we just don't have depth anymore. Our aging guys are getting older. And then on top of the fact, now we have Brock Purdy on this huge deal. He's only worth about $20 million this next year. So we've really got to hit on this draft. And a lot of people are calling for, John Lynch's head. And I honestly, I wouldn't mind that. I don't think he's really all that. But you still got to, I think as long as Shanahan's here, you're probably going to have Lynch here. So we'll see. I don't know. So my point is, this is an important offseason for the Niners. This is an important draft. This is a draft where, because here's the thing, the Seattle Seahawks, they drafted really well. My mind immediately goes to Nick Emanwari. Just the amazing drafts that they've had over the last few years. They had Tariq Woolen. They had Devin Witherspoon. I loved him coming out of college from Illinois. And then the Rams have had really good drafts where they've hit on a bunch of picks. But you can also see that Schneider and Les Snead are way better general managers. They have a way better front office than the 49ers do, in my opinion. So is the window closing for the Niners? Is Brock Purdy good enough? I think he is. But with his current contract, we're going to have to hit on the drafts. We're going to have to make smart signings. And the window is not closed, but we're just going to have to be really – I mean, I don't think it's ever going to be closed with Kyle Shanahan at coach, but they're going to have to make a change, I think, in the front office within the next couple of years because I don't think it's getting done. And that's another thing. It's like the last couple of years we've drafted for need. I think the Niners now have so many needs going into this next draft that we're just going to draft best player available, right? So that's kind of, that kind of the offseason plan. I almost even covered that in one topic. But yeah, what's the offseason plan for this Niners team? So yeah, it says the browser has lost connection to my camera. I think the offseason plan, so obviously let's address Jordan Addison. He's gotten arrested multiple times, but there's going to be a receiver. We need to go out and get some sort of receiver in free agency, through the draft, whatever. I think we're going to do both. I think, honestly, perfect world, I don't like the Jordan Addison move. And the reason for that being, like, obviously all the off the field issues, but how much really do you want to spend? Like, you're going to be overpaying for a guy like Jordan Addison. You're going to have to get him and then potentially sign him to an extension. I don't know if the Jordan Addison thing, I don't know if I would spend picks on Jordan Addison. Like, he's going to take a second or third round pick. I don't know if I would spend that. I think a guy like Alex Pierce, receiver from the Colts. So I really wanted to go back to the Seahawks versus 49ers game. Why couldn't the 49ers move the ball at all, right? And part of the reason why, like in the Week 18 game, I feel like the Seahawks were doing what Mike McDonald does best, bringing pressure from everywhere, rushing, bringing 6 defensive backs onto the field, extra defensive back. And that's what makes Nick Emmanwori so special, because you can really play him from anywhere on the field. And so that allows Mike McDonald to bring another defensive back on the field and not be completely screwed, because Nick Emmanwori has the athleticism of a defensive back, but has the size of like a safety / linebacker. But anyway, I digress. Really, the big thing, so that was Week 18. They were bringing pressure from everywhere. But then in that wild card game, like, I don't think literally the Seahawks were getting pressure with just 4 guys, and they were dropping back. I had to rewatch that game because I honestly didn't watch a ton of it. I turned it off. But they were literally dropping back, sending just 4 guys, still getting pressure. And it's because obviously we didn't have a guy who could win one-on-one. If you go out, you get Pierce, the Colts receiver. He's a really good route runner, pretty good speedster. If you can get him for like $16 million a year, here's another name. So I'm just going to go through free agency first. And let's actually share the screen really quick if I can do that. I love Shanahan. He's doing great. Punky Boys, gee whiz. I don't think I've seen you in here, so welcome. Let's try to share the screen. I don't even know if, honestly, my connection will allow it. Definitely will be better. Let's see. NFL free agents. There we go. All right. So sharing screen here. Don't mind the ad. So if we're looking at the screen or the free agents here, now I initially went 49ers top free agents, but one that kind of caught my mind, doesn't Kyle Shanahan love veteran wide receivers? Mike Evans, like, really good route runner. And part of the reason why we lost that game against the Seahawks is we didn't have a guy who could win one-on-one. Our receivers, you look at that film, Brock Purdy had no separation, nowhere to throw the ball. No, they were just glued to the 49ers receivers. Mike Evans, great route runner. The speed isn't there, but he's going to get open. So that's like, I don't know. He's a guy who I wouldn't be shocked if we bring him in. Veteran wide receiver, probably not going to go for a ton of money because he's almost in his last year. I would not mind Mike Evans. like I said, I would really, really I don't think the Niners, like, I saw a name like Jalen Tolbert, the Cowboys wide receiver. I don't think the Niners actually go after a speed guy like that just because they're not throwing down the field. Guys like Rashid Shaheed, Jalen Tolbert are really guys who run one or two routes. That's a go ball and maybe like a deep cross or whatever, and they return kicks and punts. But I don't think the Niners are built like that. I mean, Brock Purdy doesn't run a go ball. So Rashid Shaheed, Jalen Tolbert, I don't see that. But I see guys like Mike Evans who run. What is a route that the Niners ran all the time with Brandon Ayuk? That was the deep cross. And the only guy who really consistently can get separation on that is Pearsall, but he's always injured. Now, I think we keep Pearsall. I know he's going to be involved in a lot of trades, but what the hell is he going to be worth? So I think we keep Pearsall. We take a little bit of pressure off of him. We sign a veteran wide receiver, whether that be, like I said, Mike Evans or where is he? He's down this list. Alex Pierce. That's the name I'm looking for, but he's not on this list. But anyway, whether we sign Alex Pierce, let's go to wide receivers. So we can get him. Damn, there are a lot of free agent. Alec Pierce, not Alex. Alec Pierce. So he's saying George Pickens on the 49ers would feed families. My God. Yeah, but I don't think George Pickens would last on the Niners. I mean, he's not a culture guy. DJ Moore, is he a free agent? Shit, I would love DJ Moore. So anyway, I think Alec Pierce could be interesting. Like I said, George Pickens, maybe. I mean, shit. He's a free agent, but how much does he? I mean, I'd imagine he commands a lot of money, and that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm looking for guys who don't command 30 mil because do the Niners go into free agency and try to get a guy like that to be their number one wide receiver? Do they address their number one wide receiver through the draft or try to draft someone and get a decent free agent, or do they really try to go big on wide receiver and free agency and go after a top guy? I could see it going either way because I know Kyle Shanahan loves to have that number one guy, but I think right now is the time to get. I mean, there are a ton of guys that you could get here, but I think it's Alec Pierce or Mike Evans. And then here's another guy, and this is a draft prospect that I really like. So let's get into wide receiver Chris Bell out of, and TJ Parker I'll get into later. These are just two guys that I've kind of looked out. And I'll get into more film in later shows of different guys. But Chris Bell was really a guy, Louisville, wide receiver out of Louisville. Look him up. I'll share the screen, actually, because I have his scouting report here. But when I watched him, he has elite speed for his size. Now, let me quickly share the screen with you guys on that, because I do stop screen, share screen on that. I want to share the screen with Chris Bell. But what I saw from him really quick before, okay, it's up. So what I saw from Chris Bell, elite speed. And this guy, keep in mind, his unofficial 40 time, this was probably ran in college. His unofficial 40 time was a 4.4, okay? He's 6'2", right? If he plays big, he's an over – one route that when I was watching some of his highlights, one route that I saw Chris Bell run a lot was a deep crossing routes. And he is the antithesis. If you paired him, he's a guy who right now he's ranked at 22nd in the draft. Now, a lot of scouts say he's a mid-second round pick. But the Niners pick late first. So I could see us even drafting him the first round. Who knows how, if he has a good combine, then he could really, this is a guy who could rise in the draft to be a first round pick. But he's a guy who really good traits in the antithesis of Ricky Pearsall. Really tough over the middle. You need guys, and that's another thing. Like, I feel like we didn't have any wide receivers after Brandon Ayuk who could catch a ball over the middle, take one or two hits, and come up standing. Like, who was that this year for the Niners? Ricky Pearsall got injured all the time. So over the middle target, 6'2". He's an ex-receiver, has the speed where he caught it and he took it 50 yards to the house. Like, he has that elite speed where he can catch the ball on a crosser like Debo or Brandon Ayuk used to do and just take it to the house. Like, you go back and look at his highlights and he has that elite speed. He has that breakaway speed. And if you look at his kind of draft profile, so 13 in 2024, started all 13 games. Let me see, through 2025's, I believe he might have gotten injured in 2025. But, I mean, let's look at his scouting report, right? Built like a linebacker, playing receiver at 220, 4.4 speed, creates a devastating size-speed combination. And a lot of people were comparing him to A.J. Brown, which, if you watch him play, that is a really good comparison. I could see he's ranked about 4 or 5 right now as far as wide receiver prospects, but I could see him rising because he's a guy who has a great combination of that speed and size. Uses physicality and surprising deceleration to create separation on comeback routes. Transforms into a running back after the catch. Some of the weaknesses, route tree is limited. I definitely saw that. But consistency as a downfield target fluctuates. That doesn't matter because we don't throw downfield anyway. Needs refinement in the nuances of routes. But, like, this guy is just a freaking athlete. Like, that's kind of what I saw too. So he says he loves Chris Bell. Yeah. I heard the Bears might trade DJ Moore for cap reasons. I could see that. Yeah, I would love, I mean, DJ Moore would be great. But here's the thing, like, and that's another thing. How many receivers do we really need? Like, we have Pearsall, unless we trade him. Let's say you get a guy through free agency. I mean, another one's Romeo Doubs. And then you have some of the young guys like Jordan Watkins. You have what's the other guy that we drafted? Shoot, there's one other really young guy that we drafted a couple years ago, and he never really saw the field. He was injured all year. But do you guys? I mean, I don't know. We could get a guy like that, but it just doesn't make sense, especially if you have to use a pick on him. And we need to get younger. Like, genuinely, we genuinely need to get younger because our core guys are all 30 plus. So, all right. So continuing on with the offseason plan, I think that's what we do. I mean, knowing Kyle Shanahan, he's going to draft a receiver in round 1 or 2. I also really think, now I haven't gotten into any of the guards, but the Niners, and so let's get to the second kind of part of that Seattle game. How do you beat Seattle? Well, Brock Purdy was under pressure a ton. And it's safe to say that our center and guard combination, left guard center combination is not doing it for us. So I could see us drafting, but when's the last time the Niners have actually drafted a first round offensive lineman? So I could see us drafting an offensive line in the first round, getting a really good guard, whatever. But I think it's more likely we go defensive end, which I'll address that. I'll address the defensive end position, but I think it's more likely we go defensive end, which is super stacked this year, or wide receiver. But yeah, offseason plan, I would love for us to draft 1 or 2 offensive linemen. But here's another guy. I was looking at free agents, and let's go guard. Well, let's go center, because I don't think the Niners draft a center who, like, unless you trust Hennessy, but we need to get rid of Brendel at center. Let me share this again, because if you also watch, it's like the Seahawks were getting home with 4. You have Spencer Burford, not good enough. Brendel, center, not good enough. Pooney, all right. Right tackle was okay. He's borderline okay. But I think back to 2020 when the Niners signed Alex Mack for like a year. I could see, if we fix that center position, I could see us getting a free agent center, because Kyle Shanahan wants a guy who's been in the league, who has that experience to just step in right away and learn the system. So, like Connor McGovern, I mean, centers aren't too expensive. Connor McGovern, he was good. He's 28. Let's see who else. Linderbaum. I mean, he's a center. He was drafted a while back. I don't know what his numbers are. I know he was pretty good for Baltimore. His market value would be like 12 or 17. So, I mean, that's high end. That's if we really go all in on center. I don't think we get Linderbaum, but like McGovern would be really cool. I mean, let's see who else. I'm just trying to, anyone who'd fit our scheme. Yeah, Linderbaum's out there. Ryan Bates is pretty good. Ethan Pocic, he's 30, a little past his prime, but you could get him. He was always pretty good. So there are options at center. Like, I think we go veteran center in free agency. I don't think we'd keep Brendel. I'd be shocked, because he was terrible. Him and Burford, genuinely. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, it would be nice to get a left guard in the draft. Definitely we'll look up some left guards. But that's what I'm saying. Like I said earlier, we could really draft anyone. We could draft best player available, and it would fill a need, because we have a lot of needs. You have linebacker as a need. You have defensive end as a need. You could even go secondary, like cornerback, because Renardo Green, who knows if last time we saw of him, Kyle Shanahan was chewing him out on the sidelines. Like, so you could really go anywhere in the first round. But I think my bet would be, guard for sure is huge need for sure. I just don't know if we go first round, but I'll start looking into prospects. All right, what else? So that's kind of the free agent strategy. I think we go wide receiver or left guard in the first round. Or deep. Actually, okay. Let's quickly touch on Addison one more time, because I did quickly touch on him. Well, did we already say that? Did we already cover this? FAs, the 49ers should pursue Addison in the works. Yeah, we basically already covered that. I didn't. All right, so I guess last topic. So I was covering defensive end. The Niners are picking 27th in the draft. I was covering defensive end. Normally, because with the draft, you really can't look through every single. Let's see if my camera is finally working. Hello? Can you hear me? Mic is still working. Okay, my camera is not working at all. But let's say so we're picking 27th, but normally how I do my rankings, my scouting profiles, or like my scouting is, hold on really quick before I get into that. I'll give you wide receivers to pick up on: Chase Roberts from BYU, Malachi Fields from Notre Dame, Jacoby Lane from USC, and Skylar Bell from UConn, all dogs. Okay. That's good to know. I really want to have you on, because I remember last time you were great on that draft coverage. So I'll hit you up for sure. But yeah, so normally how I do this, I look at rankings. I kind of let the scouts do it for me because I'm not going to look at, 20 different guys at each position. It's just too much work. I really like to do my time on each. I like to go 10 guys deep and really look at those 10 guys at each position, right? And so let's touch really quickly on the defensive end position. We know that the Niners we drafted Mykel Williams, but let's be honest, is he really a defensive end that you keep at defensive end? He's like a first and second down defensive end, and then on third down when you need a pure pass rusher, he's not a guy that you trot out on the field as a defensive end. So he's like a first and second down defensive end. Bryce Huff, I believe, is a free agent. And even so, you don't want him. I don't think you want him as a starting defensive end, Bryce Huff. So I think the Niners go, like we've always gone, we have a history of going defensive line in the draft. I think it's very likely that we do that. Now, I was looking at rankings, like I was saying before. TJ Parker ranked number 3. A lot of scouts saying if this guy touches the field, he's going to be a day one starter. He's going to be a day one contributor. TJ Parker out of Clemson, defensive end, 6'3", an edge rusher out of Clemson. What I really saw, what I saw from him, let me pull up the scouting report and then I'll show you. Actually, I'll quickly read out what I had on him off of the brief highlights that I saw, and then I'll pull up the scouting report. Did I cover everything on the offensive line? Biggest thing. Yeah. I mean, and really quick, one last thing that I'll touch on is like how aggressive do we really get in free agency? Because I'm seeing the comments and it's obviously like, well, you could go get George Pickens or, DJ Moore, but I don't think we go in free agency and like you don't want to overpay everything. And that's why like in today's free agency and in free agency in general, it's been like this, but you don't want to go and overpay. Like it's just, if you're paying for a top guy, you're most likely going and outbidding everyone who also wants that guy. And so you're probably overpaying for that guy. And so really like how aggressive do we get? I don't think so. The Niners have never been super aggressive in free agency. Like I said, those mid guys like Alec Pierce or, you go and get a center. Centers are pretty cheap. Like I think you really have to address your needs through the draft. So anyway, let's get back. I digress. Defensive end, TJ Parker from Clemson. He's a guy who he's right now ranked. Let me quickly just say my scouting report on him. Elite patience. He is a guy who can contain, is really good against the run because he has the size. He's 6'2", 265 pounds. He has the size. Elite patience, is really good in the run game because of that, because he doesn't get pushed around. I'd say when you watch him, he has like a perfect blend of like that size. So he's not really a speed rusher. So he's really good against the run, but he's also has really good pass rush move. He has really good hands. That was one thing like last year when we drafted Mykel Williams, we said he has elite traits, but he doesn't necessarily is not super polished on the pass rush end. Well, this guy is. TJ Parker is plays both sides of the line, right and left side. When I was watching his highlights, he was making plays from both sides. And like I said, we need to get guys who just like, it doesn't even matter if he fits the scheme. They need to play the possession. They need to prove that they've played the position well. And he's played the position well because he has had elite production through college. If you look, and then one thing the Niners really struggled in last year, taking the ball away. Well, here's a stat for you. This guy had 6 takeaways in 2024. And let me look up. I saw it says here on his scouting profile, Parker becoming the only player in the nation to rank in the top 10 nationally in forced fumbles, tackles for loss, and sacks during his sophomore campaign. That was in 2024. Like I said, in 2024, he had 11 sacks, but he had 6 forced fumbles in that year as well. So, like I said, the Niners literally took the ball. They intercepted it 6 times last year, and they had I don't know. They were last in taking the ball away. So this is a guy who, let me share the screen to what I'm seeing. But this is a guy who takes the ball away. He had 6 forced fumbles in his sophomore year. Now, and he's healthy too. Like, that's another thing. Like Mykel Williams last year, when we drafted him in the first round, he was a guy who had missed some time. TJ Parker had a little bit of a down year last year. I really like to know why, but from everything I saw, I was trying to look of how many games he played last year. It looked to me like he had played every game. He just had 5 sacks. So I'm not really sure what that was. But like I said here, if you guys can see, Cleveland Farrell, top 10 nationally in forced fumbles. And that's, like I said, the Niners were not a team who took the ball away. We need to draft guys who take the ball away. But yeah, if we're looking at the scouting report that they had, one of the things I said, devastating hand usage. Correct. When shedding blocks. Natural ball dislodger with exceptional timing, 6 forced fumbles in 2024. Sets a firm edge against the run with excellent length and functional strength, controlling blockers before shedding them to make plays in the gap. Advanced technician, consistent production against elite competition. Bringing up the Texas game in the college football playoffs. That would have been this year or no, last year, I believe. One of the weaknesses, first step explosiveness. That is one thing. Like, he did seem a bit slow. Inconsistent motor is one thing they had in the weaknesses, but that's something that you'd have to, if you watched a lot of film, you'd have to figure out for yourself. I didn't see that, but obviously I haven't watched a ton of film. But this is a guy who, if you look at the rankings, he's ranked 3rd. Obviously, that could change. The combine changes everything, but he's a guy who his 40 time, a 4.65 40 time, that's in like the 70th percentile. So definitely a guy who could rise or fall, but he's a guy who is ranked right now 8th. The receiver was ranked 22nd, Bell, but he's a guy who's ranked right now, sorry, not 8th, 18th in the player rankings overall. So if he stays there, if he stays at their rankings, Niners potentially trade up, but that's around where they're trading. So, man, I got a lot of comments, so let me answer those. And then that's kind of the last topic. We've covered a lot. My camera is still not working. Hey. Okay. At least my mic is working. All is well. I'm at college right now doing a show late at night. Got pushed back quite a few things, but I've been dealing with some car issues. Reason why I had to push back the show tonight was because of some things with my car that I was dealing with fixing. I honestly just do TikTok nowadays, but I still focus on the draft because I'm a huge college football fan. So yeah, franchise official definitely should bring you on. Niners will be 3rd in the division next year. This old team will break down again because that's what they do. Like I said earlier, I think this draft is really important. It's sad, but yes. Now, one guy that I didn't bring up the tight end position, and I kind of forgot to when I was talking about free agency and I was looking through free agents that we could get. It seems like later on in the show, it's almost like I get on more of a roll and think about more, like I get on more of a roll with conveying my message a little bit more clearly. But another guy that I forgot to bring up was Kyle Pitts. I mean, everyone's been throwing out that guy and or that comp to the Niners, and I would love that. Like I really would, because Luke Farrell's not doing it. Jake Tonjes, as much as I love the guy, doesn't get open consistently. And has had his fair share of drops. He obviously fumbled it in that game against the Seahawks, which really swung the game even more. We wouldn't have won, but he fumbled it nevertheless. Kyle Pitts, I would love for us to go and get another tight end, play more tight end sets like the Rams did against the Seahawks. So, yeah, I would really love for us to get Kyle Pitts. I don't know why that comment made me think of the tight end position, but yeah, it really made me think of George Kittle, who is not going to be back next year, and if he is, limited capacity. Opt out of Brock's contract after next 10 seasons, after next season and resign Mac 10. Yeah, I feel like you've just got to be watching Grant Cohn if you're saying that comment. I think we should keep him. I don't think we should let go of Mac Jones. I'm on the board of keeping him. It's crazy. Kyle held on to the Cabo click so hard he lost half his team. True. I mean, that's another thing. Like, I almost want to say the running back position is a weakness because McCaffrey's older, but at the same time, like I think he still has a little bit left. If we get some receivers who can create separation, take a little bit more pressure off McCaffrey, and maybe he's all right, and get a better offensive line. Like I truly believe Brock Purdy is a top 10 quarterback and is really good if we can just have more protection, guys who can get open consistently, and can get separation. And I really do think he's a top 10 quarterback. If our offensive line, like all the games that he had time, the Bears game, the Colts game, he's really good if he has a little bit of time. But that Seahawks game, they were literally getting home with 4. Precisely the reason why we need to draft a left tackle, sign a center in free agency. There's a couple good centers. Go out and get Tyler Lindenbaum. Like, I know he's probably worth $17 million, but holy crap. I mean, let me go back to that center page. Connor McGovern's really good, but Tyler Linderbaum, 25 years old. I mean, that could be your center of the next 5 or 10 years because he's really good. There's only one wide receiver I have looked up at so far, Chris Bell, Real Talk. Oh, shoot. So you liked him too. Kind of wild. Yeah, he's an A.J. Brown type receiver, and he's a guy who can take a shot over the middle and pause and really and will withstand those hits over the middle, unlike Ricky Pearsall. That's crazy that we looked up the same guy, but yeah. Kyle has no concept of trading, developing, and drafting players. The Trey Lance disaster is finally catching up with the old-ass Niners. Yeah, I mean, and that's another thing I didn't bring up. Like, the Moody draft was a terrible draft. But a lot of those drafts for years were terrible because we just didn't have a first or second round pick. That's really why they were so bad. Because, I mean, I think once you get past the first or second round, like all the picks afterwards are lottery picks. 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, all lottery picks. You really don't know how good they're going to be. So if you don't have a first or second round pick, because for a while we didn't, then yeah. Sadiq is fire. Look him up. I'll look him up. Pretty sure Kyle has a mild form of autism. Okay. Completely understand the college Wi-Fi, bro. I'm a freshman and it's bad for us too. Bro, oh my word. Yes. Yes. I well, I was gonna go in the library and their Wi-Fi is pretty good, but they were closing really early tonight because of all the snow we've been having. And they said they were going to be closing at 11, but they closed at 9, and so I wasn't able to go in there, and now I'm just in this crappy hallway where apparently it doesn't let me use my camera. I mean, I'm not saying we need to rely on next year's draft because we're going to get guys back, and then obviously free agency is big. Like, hopefully you can maybe find a center. You can sign, like I said, you can sign a receiver like Mike Evans or Alec Pierce. Maybe address the linebacker position. You get guys back, maybe top 10. I mean, dude, if you look through the top 10 quarterbacks, if you're getting to the bottom of the top 10, you're looking at Jordan Love type guys. And then I'm just like, yes, I think he's better than Jordan Love. So top 10 is not great. I mean, top 10 in today's NFL almost can't get it done. Yeah, I mean, he really does. He really does. And I mean, if you guys were tuning in earlier in the show, that's the first point I brought up. I hate to steal this take from Grant Cohn, but it's really true. Like, this Niners team is very similar to that early Seattle team. And what do you know? We're probably going to hire Gus Bradley as the defensive coordinator. And he was the defensive coordinator of that early Seattle team. Whether you like that or not, we're probably going to do it. No, he's ours. Just depends how much we're going to have to pay him. Grandizer, good to see you here. I've seen Kyle cook with the Falcons and have a legitimate, insane offense. And even Purdy's second year, your offense was nice in rookie year, so it might be Lynch. Yeah, I 100% think it's Lynch. But I don't know if Lynch gets fired with Kyle here. I think this is his last year, really. I'm surprised he's not already fired, but the fact that he's still here makes me think it's Shanahan wanting him around. The Moody draft is when Kyle's head exploded. I thought that his team was so stacked he had the luxury now. Darnold's going to win the Super Bowl. Ironic. Sorry. The Moody team is when Kyle's head exploded. I thought his team was so stacked he had the luxury now. He had the luxury. Now Darnold's going to win the Super Bowl. Ironic. Sorry. I had to split that up. Yes. They got way too arrogant in that draft. They got way too arrogant. And then, yeah, getting rid of Darnold. Although, okay. Was the Niners really the reason? Like, I think O'Connell really brought Darnold around. He is a QB whisperer. JJ McCarthy, say what you will about him. He's terrible. I don't blame that on O'Connell, but he is a QB whisperer. I think Darnold was really... I think the Vikings were really the ones that brought him around. I don't know. I don't know. I don't necessarily blame the Sam Darnold thing on Kyle, but yes, that draft, they got really arrogant in 2021. I might be. We'll see if I watch the Shrine Bowl and Senior Bowl. That's what Grandizer are asking. He seems like an alcoholic. Maybe. You're in upstate New York. Oh, bad. Wow. That would be bad. I had a coach, because I run in college. My coach was watching a race in New York this weekend, and his flights all got canceled out of New York this last weekend. Left tackle, yeah, I could see us drafting fourth, fifth round, taking a shot on another left tackle to kind of develop under Williams. I don't think he's retiring this year. Yeah. Celts Chronicle says first take I made on Brock with you on stream versus Vikings is in preseason. In Brock's rookie year, I said Brock reminds me of a young Russ. Very, very much so. But also, like, okay, let's go back to the Darnold thing really quickly. Actually, Grandizer never really completely responded to your Caleb Tiernan, Northwestern. It's a great draft for center. Okay, that's what he says. Yeah, I'll look into center. I don't know. I mean, I honestly, at this point, late first round, if you really like a guy, hell, draft a center late first round. Connor Liu, big name at center. Jake Slaughter, Logan Jones. I'll look all those guys up. Thank you. I just cannot fathom the fact that Sam Darnold was on the Panthers and the 49ers, and I also cannot fathom how Baker was the Rams and Panthers either. Yeah, that wild how stuff comes around. My point is on the Moody draft is that Kyle is big-headed and thinks he has all the answers, and he thought he could draft Moody because he has 0 holes. Now how many holes does he have? Yeah, I mean, I don't know. That was so long ago. And you're also working with a third, fourth. I mean, they weren't drafting earlier than the third round. Now, I don't know what the hell they were thinking with drafting a kicker in the third round. I don't know. He was really good. To be fair, I watched a lot of Michigan games, and that doesn't excuse us drafting him in the third round. We should have drafted him like fifth or sixth, but he was really, really good in college. Like, one of the best kickers ever. Jake Slaughter, okay, from Florida. How many seasons? Love the chat tonight, by the way. Really love the chat. Giving me a lot of content here. How many seasons more does Kyle get without a ring? That's Paulu 4523. I'm going to cap this stream at an hour because it is getting late. Man, that's a loaded one. 2, 3. I think Jed York is scared just how every fan in the Niners is scared. And I'm includingly scared. I think if Kyle Shanahan gets fired, he's going to instantly get a head coaching job. And I think that Jed York, as every Niners fan is scared that if we let him go, he goes somewhere else and wins a Super Bowl. And I think we're going to keep him around because of that. I still think I still think this season was a success. And a lot of Niners fans don't think so, but I do think it was. Now, injuries, yeah, there are some great concerns, but at the same time, like, the Bills just made a huge mistake by letting go of McDermott, and he didn't get it done. The Steelers, I think, made a mistake by letting go, especially with who they replaced him with. They replaced him with McCarthy. I don't think that was a good move. So, I don't know. I think you need to have patience in today's landscape because there are a million ways you could F it up in the coaching landscape. The real losers in the whole Darnold team. Yeah, I mean, the Vikings. The real losers are the Vikings. Yeah, I that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think the Niners really can be too mad about that. I think it's more on the Vikings than the Niners. He transferred. Okay. Yeah, Cameron Latu. Don't remind me. Well, that's another thing. It's like, hell, George Kittle goes down, and instead of us having a great second guy in Cameron Latu, we're going to have to rely on Jake Tonjes, who I love, but now we're going to have to probably go and spend money in free agency to get a tight end because we don't have depth. No, I would not have done that. Come on. Would you have fired Kyle in order to promote Saleh? No. Let's see. Ratings are incredible. Jed is happy. Kyle will be here for a long time. Yeah, I fear so. Fear is a liar. That's true. Yeah. Yeah, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. I mean, okay. I don't think this year was the year to fire him because look at the head coaching landscape. But if there is an offensive genius a couple years down the road, yes, I think we should fire Kyle Shanahan. But I just don't think there's a better option out there. I really don't. So, all right, guys, it's been an hour. Man, the last 20 minutes was taken up with your guys' comments. So that was great. I'll be posting clips. Stay tuned, shorts, clips. Look in the description. I just started an Instagram page where I post a lot of reels or a couple reels a week. So go follow that actually. Actually, hold on. Maybe I should make a let me go just quickly make a banner off of this because I do need to promote my Instagram. So copy and paste that. I don't even know if you can do that off of Instagram, but go and follow my Instagram that I just made specifically for my content. Because I had a personal Instagram, but you can go follow that too. I don't care. But yeah, this one's going to be posting some football stuff. All right, guys, I got to go. 10:20 on the East Coast. I'm applying for internships for the summer. Been super busy with that, trying to keep up with school. So I'll see you guys probably next Sunday night, or actually probably next Monday night. I'm going to go live once a week, Sunday or Monday night. So just check me. Go follow my platforms. You guys already know. Yeah, I'm stoked. I'm stoked about the future of this team, even though some of you guys are not. But I think it's going to be a good offseason. Have a good night, everyone.